Okie dokes. It's been a while. Welcome and welcome back, everybody. This starts with the round table. My name is Mello. Just in case you forgot, I feel like I forgot. Let's get to this. Alright, what do I need to do? I'm going to let's get her done here. Let me move this thing. I'm actually not going to be working on my sketch pad. I'm going to be working on this piece right here. I'm going to be inking this faux cover, potential faux cover. Who knows, right? Who knows what it'll bring? But I wanted to do some inking. I wanted to do something a little bit light. And just kind of like forget myself and put in some work, man. I've been away from the table. I've been away from the table for about a week. I had some family visit us here at Casa de Mel, and it was fantastic, and it was a great reason not to be in the studio behind a desk drawing and working. So my nephews were here, and it was just lovely. It was amazing. So all right, shall we? What are we doing? We good? We're streaming. I think we're live all over the place. I am going to remove this follow me here. I'll put it up later on. I just need to see this window, and I think we're good. We chatting, we chilling. Cool, cool. So jump on if you guys can. Tell me what you've been through. Tell me what you're doing. Yeah, I'll tell you, I got some new gouache. I've been trying to find some really black ink. This is the type of stuff that, this is acrylic gouache. I don't know if this is what Alex Ross uses. He uses a, oh my god. Is this like childproof tape? Can I not? Okay. I need a combination. This is acrylic gouache from Turner, but it's jet black. I've been looking for something that's a little bit deeper than the black that is provided in Himi and Arteza. So see how this works. Should be good. I won't be using it for this piece. I'm only going to be using black ink for this piece. For now, I am prepping this. This is the first step. Well, more like the second or third step of what my process is. This is a printed copy of the original. I'll show you the original right here. Watch. This is the original pencils. Am I paused here? Like, what the hell? No, I am not paused. I am moving and grooving. So what is happening? Oh, there's a huge delay. Sorry, guys. I'm like trying to monitor my stream as I'm going, as I'm working. So it's just weird. All right, we're good there. I'm not going to monitor this one. I'm going to trust that one. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. Everything in my house is soft-wired, so everything is Wi-Fi, and that's annoying. So the connectivity is not always solid. All right. So this is the pencil. This is the original pencil on Strathmore 11 by 17 comic book Bristol board paper. Smooth. It's smooth. This was fun to do. I I love Dick Tracy. I love the noir aspect, and I didn't really get into it young. What really drove it, and mid '80s to late '80s, was just a treasure of an era for comic book movies and comic book inspired movies. Right in that era, we in those few years between 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. If you think about what we've gotten during that time, Dick Tracy. I'm even going to include the Ninja Turtles in there. Ninja Turtles, Dick Tracy, Batman, the Shadow, Phantom, even though people trash on the Phantom. I'm even going to include Who Framed Roger Rabbit, even though it wasn't a cartoon, it wasn't a comic book or based on comics. But it fits in that era, especially with the detective aspect of it, the noir aspect of it. Missing one. Oh, and the Rocketeer. Anyway, this was my. I didn't get to read a lot of the Dick Tracy stuff during growing up. I saw it in the funny pages, as they call it, or the comic strips on Sundays. And I dug the artwork, but I really didn't get into it. It just seemed before my time. And I was into comic books like Batman and DC and Marvel stuff. So the comic, such a. The comic strip to me growing up felt inferior, and that is a terrible thing to say. I'm glad I grew out of that ignorance. Anyway, this is the pencils. I scanned it in, converted it to blue line. Not that it really mattered, but I kind of like the way black ink looks over the blue line, so that's what I'm gonna do. And though, even though I have some really good India ink from Doc Martens, and I combined it with some Japanese ink. This is what I've been working with and my other stuff. I have a mixture in here in this Bombay Black, Doc Martens Bombay Black. This is a really good ink. And I have this Japanese calligraphy ink combined in here. This thing is really good. It smells really earthy, and I think that's what attracts people to it. I don't know if that is what attracts me to it. I just like how solid it looks and how smooth it is. It dries really well. So I got a really interesting mix in here because this was running out, and then I bought this. But in the meantime, I'm sorry, I'm dragging a cable here. Sorry if I'm a bit talkative. I'm just excited to be back. Anyway, printed. No, okay. Scanned. Back to the beginning. Scanned. Blue lined it on Photoshop or Photopea, whatever you use. I have no affiliation to either of them. A photo editing software, we'll call it that. Converted it to blue line. I actually shrunk it a little bit. I am going to be painting all over this thing later on after I ink it. And that's it, guys. So that's what we gonna do. And I didn't use Warren Beatty as my reference. This is kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different faces on Pinterest. I just needed, I just used a lot of references for the shading and the shadow. But the face is pretty much a random creative from the coconut. I did not want to model her after Madonna. That's supposed to be, oh, what was her name? Breathless Mahoney. I didn't, if you saw my short, I didn't intend for this to look like Big Boy Capri, but I was struggling with the villain of this piece. And who better than Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice to use as reference? So, looking at some stills, he's the only one really that I created a more of a caricature of the actor and his in the makeup. So we're going to be using my Winsor & Newton Series 7 brushes. I think maybe just this one. This is the number 2. This is the number 3. And I have some of these Pentel brushes with that India ink amalgamation. But some of these are really dry. These brushes. This one especially. So I'm looking forward to somehow using this dry brush to some effect. Who knows? It's so dry that it's powdery. Interesting. So we may not experiment too much. I really like this piece, even though I could always just print it again. So let's just go. Cool. Put on some jazzy tunes in the background. Hopefully they don't get interrupted every few minutes. I'm gonna add the ink. Even though I was just promoting Doc Martens and Sakura or whatever that Japanese calligraphy ink, today I'm gonna be using this New York Central Art Supply waterproof India ink. I have a ginormous bottle. Shake it up. Shake it up, shake it up. Shake it up. And my shot glass. I'm gonna pour in more than what I need. I don't care. Keep that away. Put that here. Look, wow, that was fast. All right, 27 minutes I've been on. I haven't done anything yet. Can we change that? Let's do that right now. Just gonna wash my hands as best as I can. This is real. Art is dirty. Art is dirty. Okay. All right. I'm gonna be quiet. Enjoy some jazzy noir tunes. Get my brush ready. Hey Galaxy Dude, how are you? Welcome, Galaxy Dude 470. How you doing? I'm like all over the place, so I apologize if I'm a little slow at responding. Alright, just moving stuff over. I don't think I need this one anymore. I feel like I'm gonna spill something. I already got black ink here. I got water in the corner. I got stuff everywhere. It's like it's messing with me. I got stuff on my desk. I want to show you guys some stuff later on that I'm gonna be studying and working on. Just pushing stuff away. I gotta. Hey, you guys want to see? That's gonna be the next piece I do. If I can ink this fast enough today, if I stop procrastinating and ink this fast enough today, I'll do this one later on this afternoon because I want to. I'm gonna paint both of these eventually. Those are empty. All right. All right. I've been a little rusty. Like I said, I haven't drawn anything or painted anything or inked anything in over a week. But this should be straightforward. And I think sometimes you just gotta get in there. I'm gonna put my ink over here. Just trying to get a sharp point on the on this brush here. I was just talking to last week when I was doing one of the Optimus Prime paintings, talking about how I don't warm up, and I'm kind of regretting it. I feel a little stiff, and I really like this drawing, and I don't want to mess it up. So, but I think the best thing to do is just get in there. This ink is beautiful. All right, let's get it. Where to start? I'm alrighty, so let's start with the left eye. And that's it. There's no turning back now. Let's go. I think I need to be a little bit more comfortable. Let me drop this table. Get it a little closer. A lot of this, all this blue is going to be in black. So I really don't have to be too tight and precise. But I also don't want to be reckless because I think here I can really emphasize or put emphasis on certain things. I am really stiff right now. My shoulder is almost working against me. And what's messing with me is that I'm trying to be precise, and a lot of this stuff is just going to be hidden in black. So I need to do some of this so that I can relax. I'm cheating like crazy. This the brush is kind of like right here. It kind of split. You might not be able to see it, but it's split. Anyway, and allowed me to create those hash marks effortlessly because I'm using the split. Excuse me. And something else that I'm not doing that it usually helps inkers is rotate the page. I'm trying to do this as a painter, and usually while you're painting on a easel, and you don't have the luxury of rotating the page so often. So that's too much. It would be kind of cool if I can retain that those broken lines when I'm painting. You got to use everything that's available. Jon Vonnegut, how are you, sir? Thank you for coming on board here. How do you say? How would you say hello or yeah in Romanian? It's good to see you. You're, sir. If I haven't, I wasn't able to translate correctly, but I wanted to tell you if you can understand that. You're an amazing artist, and it's a absolute pleasure to check out your live streams on your paintings. And although there's a language barrier, art is universal, and it's beautiful to see what you're doing. So, and thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and you guys watching, make sure you check out this gentleman's page, his YouTube channel. I think it's yeah, I'm gonna put it up for you. I hope I don't embarrass you. I am going to put up your channel because I think what you do is amazing. And the although people will categorize it and say, "Oh, it's much like," or Bob Ross. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I think it's the Vonnegut Art Museum Gallery. The Vonnegut Art Gallery. Yeah, check out this link, guys, if you get a chance. Amazing work from that gentleman right there. And I know that some, people use sometimes those characteristics as a compliment. Oh, he draws like, or he paints like so and so. We all are always striving to have an individual look and expression. So I didn't want to do that to you. I think that what you do is amazing. And again, again, thank you for sharing and welcome. A part of me wanted to ink this with the intention to paint, which I am going to paint, but I didn't. I don't. What I don't want to do is. What I don't want to do is simplify my inking just because I'm going to paint it. That's something that I've been doing a lot lately. No matter what the intention is in the end, I'm going to draw it as best as I can the whole way through, adding as much detail as I would if it was to stay as a drawing. Then I'm going to ink it the same way, and then I'm going to paint it the same way. And I encourage you to try that. If you are a type of artist that does all three of those mediums, don't shortchange one to benefit the other. And what I've noticed is that my penciling has gotten better because of my inking, and my inking has gotten better because of my painting. My painting hasn't gotten that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still working on getting my painting better. Inking has helped develop a hand eye to my painting, so. Yeah, so as I paint, I'm going to use a lot of and ink. I use a lot of cross hatching and I forget the halftones. These are halftones. These single lines. Even though when I paint, it may not have that same effect. I'll probably blend it a bit better. But for now, this is what I'm going to go for. Because I like the way it looks. And now I'm rotating. I said I wasn't gonna, but you have to. I think the way my shoulders are, and I have a better control over the brush this way. every once in a while there's a tool that an artist uses that they recommend, and you quickly realize that it's just there's too much hype behind it. Uh, maybe it's under false hype, right? What's the word I'm looking for? But these or endorsed, right? An artist will endorse a trash tool and will pimp it for their benefit. But I am not endorsed by the Winsor Newton, and I don't need to be. They make enough money without me. I These brushes are legit. They're a little pricey. I don't like how pricey they are. Being a broke artist, so I had to choose wisely where I can spend my money and on what. So I know that Steve Rude recommends that artists use bigger brushes. Bruh, Rick, it's Rick. I was gonna call him Rick Rude after the wrestler. Steve Rude, if you want to buy me a bigger brush, I'll take it. But I cannot afford or justify paying the amount of money that they ask for the larger brushes. Two and the number two and number three is perfectly priced for me, and it's so versatile that I won't be complaining for a while. But the one tool I just can't, and I would love to try. I've done it before. I just can't get comfortable with it. Is the nib, the Hunt 102s, or the Crow quills, which I have some there, but I can't seem to do it. I don't know if I have the patience. I love the way they look, but I think the under my non-training, it just seems like very stiff lines all the time, and I don't know how to control line weight. The way I can with a brush. But if you guys want to see an amazing artist on YouTube, a professional inker, check out Chuck Gibson's channel. Chuck is an amazing artist. He's been putting a lot more stuff online lately. So hop over there and give him some support, will you? He's constantly teaching and sharing his insight of years of work. He was an inker for Image Comics during the 90s. So do yourself a favor and check him out. I'll put his link up also. I check out his stuff all the time. I follow him on Insta and on Photoshop. Photoshop. Dang nabbit Adobe. And on YouTube. And he actually has been kind enough to ink one of my pencil drawings, and it looks beautiful. He hasn't finished it, and that's okay. I will never rush the gentleman. But he has what's the expression? He has helped me achieve a bucket list moment in my life of having artwork inked, not just by any other artist, but a professional inker. One who's I probably have some of his books around here somewhere that he's inked. And that's freaking cool. I'm gonna call you Vung Russell. Vung Chemching Russell. Thank you, man, and welcome. Do you guys want me to zoom in a little bit more on the artwork? I may be able to adjust the camera to do so you can see some of the brush strokes here. But you guys let me know. What is it? I'm gonna say because I'm reading it in Spanish, but I'm not sure if it is. Quiero Oscar. Hello, good morning. It's morning where I am, almost in the afternoon. So hello, welcome. Today's a bit of a weird day. I don't normally I wouldn't say normally, but it's kind of like a re-entry Wednesday. Been away from my art table for a week, and the hardest part to all of it, uh, was having ideas and sitting on them. If you know what I mean, like, ooh, that'd be cool, and not doing it. I have family over, and I had so much fun being around them and my nephews who are such cool, handsome, and fantastically funny and just loving homies that I could not put myself away. If I can only match the cross hatching on some of this stuff as I paint, I think that'll be such a unique look to a painting. I'm gonna try it. Maybe I can develop it and maybe it'll be my own, but we shall see how that happens. I always struggle with realism. I'm not gonna say struggle. Uh, I skirt across the line of realism and cartoonishness so often that I call my art style simply enough cartoonish realism, where it's kind of a caricature, but there's a lot of realism in it, or a shadow or something that just kind of like it's not off-putting, but off-putting. Can you imagine calling your own art off-putting? But I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's something that I've from trying to emulate comic books for so often and then jumping into realistic paintings and life drawings, and for the little bit of college that I went through, although I went to school and graduated with a degree in graphic design and communication, it really didn't push my art. Kinda. What it did was make me appreciate the old masters more, which then made me appreciate the old school comic book creators. Go figure. So I give him credit for that. Thank you, Reese. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. It's not a painting yet. I'm only inking. I'm only inking. I will be painting this later on. But once I ink it, once I'm done inking, it's going to require a little bit more. A little more to secure it. I have to preserve the inks by using a fixative, a spray. And then I use clear gesso on top of this paper so that it can allow the gouache paint to adhere to that. All right. But thank you nonetheless. Well, I know I corrected it, but you're not lying. Basically painting with ink, so I didn't like the way that looked, so I remind myself that's gonna be black, 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 black. This always ends up having such a really cool abstract look to it when you start inking over blue lines. One of my favorite things to draw on a hero is the hero chin. The little divot. Excuse me. I don't know how much light I'm gonna have to do a light line so that I won't lose the villain here. I could probably go over it with a white, but I'm trying to. If I mess up, I'll do it. I needed to create a border over this guy's face so it can stand out. But I don't need to do it over hers because she is blonde and it'll stand out over the black. Yeah, see how cool that abstract look is? It almost makes you want to keep it that way. uh, but yeah, I'm digging it. The one thing I didn't do, sometimes they recommend to squirt a little bit. Well, I've seen some artists either put some isopropyl alcohol, a little bit of it, onto the ink, or some actually use Windex. And what it does is it thins it out a bit so that it can flow better through brush and the crow quills, and it dries faster. So I forgot to do that. But that's all right. It seems to be drying pretty good. And again, I always make the bad habit of, because I'm a righty, I tend to pull on my marks first on the right hand side, and I'm always in a dangerous position to smudge. We live vicariously here, don't we? You know, I put in this piece here, and it's like a tangent. I can't remember now if I drew this as part of her shoulder or part of his shirt. But I think it's a part of her shoulder because that's his tie. See, but then now if that's his tie, ugh. Where's my pencils? Okay. It isn't. That's her shoulder and her back, and that's her elbow. Okay. Jeez Louise. I can't wait to ink this guy's face. It's so interesting. That's going to be in black, black. can get a smooth line here. That was satisfying. It's probably the hardest trying to add texture to something like this, to the hat. All right, let's see. Everything feels. My shoulder's like locked. I'm using the cleanliness of the paper to kind of glide across it. And the best thing about doing that, oh my lord, doing that on something that's already been printed, I don't have the risk of smearing or dirtying up, or I would hope so. Boop, boop. All right. It's coming along, I think. What do you guys think? Also, are you guys familiar with Dick Tracy? You guys into old school noir style, Humphrey Bogart, the Maltese Falcon style stories and it's amazing the delay. Anyway, we're not worried about that. I'm gonna turn that one off. This is inside. being a little bit more looser down here than I am on top of there because I could always emphasize all of those weird folds with the painting. But I still want to make it clear of what it is. How often do we look at a knot for a tie, right? My studio account. How are you? My study account. Yeah, well, maybe if I had a reading account, I wouldn't have butchered your YouTube name. My study account. How are you? All right, there's going to be a lot of feathering, but not this. I want to thank you guys for hanging out and joining me, even if it's just briefly on this just a calm Wednesday. I hope it's calm for you. It's calm for me, so I don't want to project. All I would like to project onto you guys is good times, man. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a cool day. It's kind of cool where I am. Let's just say 73. All that is black. No matter what, though, I've noticed to myself is that even if I know I'm going to paint something, I do, for all the detail I want to add, I still kind of skimp. Only because I know I can cover it and add texture instead of detail. Because I don't quite know what I like to do more. When I'm penciling, I like to add texture and a lot of detail and kind of like some people try to show off. I just want to put a good piece of art out there. Imply it, I guess, is what I'm looking for. But I have a book there, How to Draw and Write Noir Stories, that everything is so heavy and shadows is amazing. I'll pull it out one day and I'll show you guys the book I'm talking about. Just always, it's one thing that I hope is something that I can be known for in my painting is atmosphere. I'm gonna do this eye first. And when the books open up and people talk about my art, hopefully that's one of the things that comes up. That it brings you somewhere. Even if you're not a fan of Dick Tracy or whatever it is that I draw, the character, that it doesn't matter that when you look at it, you go, man, there's something going on there. It looks weird because the eye is like isolated in the ether. I think once I put the other eye and all this other stuff, it won't look like it's floating. Right now it looks a little weird. Yeah, I like that. I'm probably gonna remove some of this. That was a little too much. I'll probably remove some of that during the painting, but we're still good. We're still satisfied, y'all. Plus, everything, selfishly, I'm doing this for a couple of things. One, because I love the character. Two, I there's a gentleman out there called Doc Blaylock who has an amazing series of books, Jake Bishop, called Jake Bishop Files, which are set in this alternate Earth where there's magic and technologies into. It's really cool, and see if I can convince him to let me do a book cover for him. So, Doc, if you see this through the ether, bud, get some ideas. Hit me up. I'm going to use some drier brush techniques for this pistol. I'm going to be a little bit looser. I'm going to use my hand here to get a better understanding of the gun here, the placement. We shall see. I'm going to have to come this way. I'm going to zoom in on this camera real quick. So if you're watching, it'll be a little bit. Hopefully it won't cut off too much as I rotate it, but tis what it is. I think you guys will enjoy it nonetheless. This is hurting my hand. I'm concentrating so much here. Let's see if I can help myself. No, it's too loose. How about this one? This one might be too loose as well. Yep. Alright. Gonna have to try to relax my hand here. I've been following these artists that hold their paintbrush really oddly. For me, it looks odd, but now seeing the stress that I've got going on my finger, look at how deep that divot is. Ugh. Ew, brother, on this finger here, bruh. Not gonna understand why they hold the brush the way they do. I was like, really? I don't like that. I don't like the way that felt at all. I don't have anything to help me. I've been using these foam holders on my pencils, but you know what? And this is awesome. This has been saving me from that writer's knuckle, that artist knuckle. Hold on, I'm gonna stop this. But yeah, man, that was painful. Let me see. Hmm. I have a bag of these somewhere. I gotta find them. But anyway, I have some. I've had to cut into them because they're really. Uh, I've had to cut into them so that the pencils can fit, or my mechanical pencils can fit. But I'm gonna see if I can. I got them in a bag somewhere. See if I can use it on this, on my brushes. I don't like that. This piece right here. That's fine. I drew him in more shadow than I gave him in black ink. But I am going to try to maintain some of this halftone. Because he is the villain, so. But that might have to come out in the painting stage. I think if I over ink him. The hell? He's going to disappear because there's going to be a lot of ink on our hero. I thought I heard something. I think my cat's sneaking on something. Anyway. We're getting there. We're getting there. I really don't like the way she looks. I have to find something. Let's just go. Droovy, thank you. Droovy says, hello, my drawing looks really cool. Thank you, I appreciate that compliment. Drawing a detective by the name of Dick Tracy, a villain by the name of Big Boy Capri, and a damsel by the name of what the frig is her name? Breathless Mahoney. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, there's something about the eye placement in the pencils that I didn't like. I don't know if I'm gonna make it any better with the inking, but see what happens. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the eyes were too big. Ouch. Sorry. When drawing or inking women, guys, try to avoid a lot of lines. Lines adds age, and if you're trying to draw or paint a younger, mid 20s, 30s female, the less lines you want to put around eyes and stuff like that. Cool tip, little mail tip for you. I'm trying to be a little bit more subtle than what I gave myself on the pencils. That already looks a bit better. I'm a bit more comfortable with the way that looks. Sometimes less is more. I think she has a mole, kind of like Marilyn Monroe. I think that was the inspiration anyway. Oh my goodness. I gotta draw something a bit bigger so that my hands won't. I'll go back to it. I'm gonna be leaving a lot of broken lines for her. She's gonna have more light than these guys, so meaning broken lines, meaning on her shoulder here. I am not going to connect it to emphasize a highlight or lighter color. Emphasize some weight on her clothing here. Trying to emphasize folds and like a shawl or something lacy. Yeah. Alright, put that here so you guys can see better. I'm gonna use a lot of this rocking back and forth to do her hair. Because her hair is blonde, I don't want to put too much shadows and shade and just lines in there. It'll make it appear fuller and nice. She got that Maybelline. Maybe, maybe she was born with it. This is such an interesting angle for the face because it's kind of foreshortened and twisted and turned a bit, that I'm trying to avoid adding more lines than I need to. Again, from earlier. Tiny's Q. Yo. How are you? I really do hope everybody's having a good time or a good day. And thank you for swinging through, saying hello. How many people are anybody watching? No, not really. You guys are just popping in and out. I'll take that too. I appreciate you. Use G pens. It makes what easier? The inking? Or fine liners? Not, man. I got the. I understand what you mean. It does allow for thinner lines and stuff like that, but for organic figures like the human face and stuff like that, I would prefer the brush because I can provide a smoother transition from thin line to thick line, like the way I did on her eyelashes. But I think you probably there's probably a delay here. But yeah, I do have those. I do have fine liners and I have all of those things. But I like the brush. I like the way the brush feels. And it gets my hand comfortable for painting later. And remember, that's part of her. Honey want to use very little lines. She looks pretty. Thank you, Drifky. Am I making my own manga or comic? No, sir. Or Madam Tarnish? No. What I am doing is creating a cover, or poster, or that type of deal for an established. This is a character by the name of Dick Tracy, and these are some characters that are. This is more for practice, creating covers for something that's already been established, for practice for my own personal stuff in the future. That's what I was waiting on. Let's see if I can get some more, because it's supposed to be see-through. I don't know if I'll get the So no, these are already established characters. These characters are old. I just love the aesthetic and how they look. I don't know if that was as successful as I was hoping. That's kind of like the learning on the fly here with some of these brushes and what the ink can do, but no, that's one of the things I like to do that I've been enjoying lately, creating uh, fake covers or just artwork that would look cool as a book cover or a comic book cover. This is one of them. This is another. I know you guys are familiar with the character Spawn and Blade. Spawn on the top here, Blade on the bottom. I'll be inking this one either tonight or tomorrow, depending on how much I get done on this piece. One second, I'm gonna. We need a little bit more energy. Oh, thank you. It's good. Thank you. And then once it's done, inked, I am going to be painting it. I have to seal it in fixative so that the ink won't run, and in gesso so I can paint over. I paint using gouache. So that is the plan. And boop, boop, bam. Shadowhawk, what's going on, bud? You know, that would be dope. Let me see if I can set some stuff aside. I won't be able to attend. My daughter will be graduating from college on that day. But if there's anything that I can set aside, those pieces that I've offered. Sorry, guys, I'm having like a side convo with gentleman, YouTuber, Shadowhawk. Um, what was I saying? I still have those pieces available. I'm waiting. I have them in my Kofi. I'm actually going to move them and put them someplace else to see where I can get more traffic. And when they sell, when, because I'm not going to say if, when they sell, that stuff is still going to be going to you guys' GoFundMe. But yeah, man, that'll be dope. I will definitely promote it as much as I can, but I will not be able to be around to participate. And I know you guys, I know it's kind of a pain to have to try to sell or auction off somebody else's work. Um, but you guys have my full confidence. Those three pieces are still up. And if there's anything else that I can put up there, maybe less in price because I think people are kind of tight. But whatever you guys need, I'll show you some stuff. So anyway, if we have time, I'll hit you up then before then. But absolutely, man, thank you. Get you guys the help y'all need, man. There, where am I? The gun. I might have to use a different brush for that. Oh, thank you on both accounts, man. I appreciate it. How's everything, man? If you're still there, how's everything? How's the physical therapy? How's the leg healing? Gotta keep rotating this because it just inked over here. I'm gonna move this stuff to live chat. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, that's good enough for me. I think this thing is really gonna stand out as soon as I put all the black on dude's face here and the inside of his jacket. I'm getting a little leery on his hand here, but we gotta go, right? We gotta do it. We're moving along, so. Oh, what's happening here? Here we go. This is going to be the most difficult part because I think this is the part where I kind of like cut corners the most. uh, Hands and feet, and there's certain things that are just difficult to realize, and I'm like, oh, I'll just hide it under ink or color, but that doesn't do me any favors. So I may have to end up saving myself when I do the painting part, but right now is I'm noticing a ton of stuff that I should have corrected before I got here. But the benefit of this is that this is mine anyway. And I think as long as I got the gist, I can do all the finagling after the fact. So helpful tip, kids. Stop shortchanging your art, man. If you don't draw hands enough, draw more of them. Don't cut corners, man. All right. Let's see if I can use some of this dry brush to emphasize the metal of the gun, but I'm gonna do a lot more. I'll be able to emphasize some of the shine and the metallic nature when I paint it. The heck? Don't anyone tell Tank Ferret how I draw guns. I think he'll retch. Dude knows where everything goes, so I'm implying. I'm using a lot of implying here. So hide a lot of that. I can hide a lot of the, well, not hide, I can imply the sharper edges when I paint. But for now, we just need to make it appear like it's a different texture than everybody else. Nothing should have this same brush effect. Any of it. All right. Looks like a shiny gun. I should probably be looking at reference, but and I don't know if you guys can tell, because my shoulders are so tight, because I'm suffering here, none of my lines are coming out straight. Plus, I'm painting with my wrist instead of my shoulder to compensate. Alright, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I think this piece here is what throws it off. Anyway, I'm giving the appearance of it. I'm not a gun nut, so it doesn't affect me, and I'm not going to lose sleep if it doesn't look like a authentic gun. None of these people are authentic anyway. I feel like there's something stuck on this brush. Again, I'm just making sure that's going to be his jacket, his shirt and tie. When working on stuff like this, you want to vary your line weights and your textures in whatever method. So if I'm going to be doing flowy, curly stuff for the hair, I don't want to use that same technique for the face. If I'm going to be using hard halftones and cross hatching for the face, I don't want to use that for the clothes and for the... Anyway, ya tu sabes, you already know. Just letting you know. So that way, even if the art is loose, you can still lead the viewer's eye to where you want it by varying certain things. All right, so that's just to give impression of his shirt being tight. You guys can't really even see that, but and it adds lines to emotion. That's that. We're getting there. I wasn't going to, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. For her. Because I could always paint over it. I'm going to give her some shading here. I'll try not to go too heavy or too dark. And that's one thing, Bud. Where's the guy that was suggesting the microns or the nibs? It just feels so much better to do with the brush. In my opinion, I'm sure there are artists that use those tools that are way better than me, so. I just need more studying. Study the greats, the Busemas and the Cuberts, and of course the Kirbys. You just have to commit. I want to try to convey a sadness in her eyes, but I wish I didn't do that. I'm almost there. We just passed the 2 hour mark. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me that long. I'm going to try to move a little bit quicker on this area so that I can add the black ink on the sharper shadows, just so that we can have some type of accomplishment. And then I'm going to get it set up for painting for either later today or tomorrow. So he has so many different textures on him. The satin on his fedora, the hard jacket, which is probably going to have to come this way. All the lines, all the lines. It's coming along though. We're getting there though. I think this might be it. I like that shading here, so I'm going to keep that to emphasize the satin nature of this piece of his hat, of his fedora. Now let's start blocking these things in. I know that other cover, that other drawing of Spawn and Blade it was definitely going to take a lot longer, just because of a lot more smaller details to fulfill there in that one. I'm just taking advantage of the frayed bristles to add texture. But we moving and grooving, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I drew this piece a couple of months ago, and I've just been really excited to finish it just to, what's the word, to finalize the vision that I had. You know, it's mentally earwigging me, and I'm like, you gotta get it out of your head, so. So, successful or not, I'm just happy that I got it done. This ink has been holding up very well. This brush has been doing fantastic. And I got so much to learn in terms of, oh no, creating, how lucky was that? Creating varied texture. I have been looking at some old comics from the 80s, Essential X-Men specifically, the last week or so. And if you guys don't know, in those versions of the books, it's just the inks, no color. The closest you're going to get, and it's on newsprint, so it's kind of like the closest you're going to get to an artist edition for those. Just for the inks. And there's so many amazing artists working that worked in those books. Some really good, cool artists to look up to. All right, let's get busy. I think this is where I gotta be careful. We're nearing the end, and not that I'm rushing, but I feel like I might be a bit careless here. So let's see if we can just slow it down. I'm gonna use these frayed bristles as much as possible. Can y'all see that? How they kind of like not kind of like broken up, not broken up, but they're split to give me some cool lines on his knuckles. One of many things that I got to learn just by watching and looking at that comic book. Not this particular how they did this, but you begin to start when you start studying that stuff, you begin to see the different brushstrokes, and you begin to even see how the bristles look. You can imagine what they look like. So, one second. Everything is pausing around me. Oh, my back. That's gonna be his hand. That is his hand, not gonna be. That eye gets lost there still, doesn't it? But I can dig it. I think it looks pretty good. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do the background. Alright, so these guys are gonna just kind of blend into the yellow. So, yellow, black, dark. I think we're gonna be alright. Push this off the page a bit. Not too bad. I think this is going to be black. I think the majority of this stuff is going to be in black so that they can stand out. Tighten up that. Don't want too much. Jacket. Jacket. This is probably where I need to stop, just so that I won't over render with the brush, considering I am going to paint it. Give it some edge. What's kind of cool is I'm not looking at the pencil. I have it over there, but I'm not looking at it. This is going to be its own beast, which is kind of cool when all is said and done. It's going to be black. I think majority of this is going to be black so they can stand out. Might as well do it now. Oh no, I covered my name. Who will know that I did this? Yeah, okay. I think the rest of this I can do with paint to blend it in here. To add atmosphere above them. I think it looks weird just because I don't have all the elements in place, but I am digging it. I almost feel like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Sorry guys, I gotta, my throat is dry. I should probably use a bigger brush, but it's okay. Best thing about this, I think, is going to be when I do get to paint it, I don't have to rely too much on the matte black. Just a little, and I might even just use acrylic. Acrylic has a nicer, dries a lot nicer to me. And adding black kind of muddies the piece. If I'm not careful, this way, this already there, I can actually layer on top of the black ink with gouache colors. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and keep finishing this up. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Once the music kicks back on, I'll put that in the background. And I'll go from there. And I will see you guys and gals later. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This was kind of like impromptu, but I needed to get the stuff out my head. And I think we were successful. So, thank you. Thank you for hanging out and joining me at the table. This is Arts of the Round Table. My name is Mello, and as always, I will draw you later. God bless you. Love you, mean it. And bye-bye.